Welcome. Between 2002 and 2005, I worked for a software company that provided telephone technical support for a subscription-based software product that helped small businesses keep track of their finances. In this product, it was necessary for our customers to print out invoices, bills, and receipts for their customers. I was asked to train my fellow technical support coworkers on how to troubleshoot printing issues these customers experienced. This PowerPoint presentation was originally made in 2004, but I inserted the audio portion in March of 2025 as a demonstration. Welcome to Tech Training. This lesson will teach you basic troubleshooting for printing in your software product. On the agenda for this lesson, we'll begin with the introduction. Then we'll go through basic troubleshooting. We'll talk about chat guidelines for the software product. We'll walk the customer through the fixing of the printer issue. Then we'll talk about troubleshooting tips for printing. Then we'll talk about how you would handle different scenarios that may come up during your troubleshooting. Next, we'll talk about the knowledge-based articles in the software product knowledge base. Then we'll talk about Adobe knowledge-based articles. Then we'll talk about Microsoft knowledge-based articles. Afterwards, we'll do a question and answer session, and then we'll conclude the discussion. What's in it for me? This training will provide information and guidance on handling specific printing cases to make them easier to solve. It'll help you have a better understanding of how to immediately identify printing issues specifically related to your software product. Most software product online printing problems are usually specific to Adobe Acrobat Reader and its integration with the software product. Basic troubleshooting. Step 1. Ask directed questions. What were you trying to print? Did it ever work before? If so, when did it last work? Have you been able to print anything in other applications? This is to rule out non-software product issues. Have you restarted your computer? What were you doing on your computer right before it became unable to print? Be as specific as possible with this question. If you are still unclear as to what the customer was trying to print, ask the customer to walk you through step by step what they did to get the error. Now that you've asked your initial questions, you're ready to narrow the problem down. Make sure that the problem is ongoing and can be replicated. Are there any relevant questions you can think of to ask the customer? These questions will determine the direction your troubleshooting will go. Now that you have the answers to your basic questions, we come to step 2, isolating the problem. This is where you determine the cause of the problem. Remember, not asking enough of the right questions at the beginning of the call will lengthen your call at the end if you miss something important. At this point, exit from all other applications. Look for the fix in the knowledge base, recreate the behavior that generates the error if necessary, and ask in chat following the software product chat guidelines. Here are the software product chat guidelines. Try to find the answer before asking in chat. Duplicate what the customer is seeing or asking on your own machine. If you do not understand the customer's question for email response, call the customer and get clarification. When requesting the conductor to look at a case, please copy and paste the question in chat. Step 3. Walk the customer through the fix. Now that you have asked the right questions, you know exactly what the problem is and have the pertinent information available to you, walk the customer through the fix. This is where the customer service training will come into play. Always remember to say please and thank you and smile. This will make the fix go faster, believe it or not. Let the customer know you are on his or her side. Assure the customer you know what you were doing and always tell the customer what you are about to do before you do it and why you are doing it. If you have to uninstall or download something such as Adobe Reader or Printer Driver, always explain why and remember your support boundaries. We are not Adobe technicians, nor are we printer techs, but we will help install Adobe Reader as we have an agreement with Adobe to integrate the product with ours. Also, it doesn't hurt a computer to install the right printer driver. Here are some troubleshooting tips that will help you. Where do I start? When you receive a case, follow the basic troubleshooting steps. Refer to the knowledge base articles when appropriate, which is most of the time. Before escalating, be sure you have completed each troubleshooting step, refer to the knowledge base articles, use the chat, and ask your team lead if necessary. Question: how would you handle the following? What would be the proper troubleshooting procedure for a customer who gets a blank white screen when trying to print a check? Pause this video for a moment and think about that. When you're done, resume. Here are some of the most common knowledge base articles we will come across during our printer troubleshooting. Can't print invoice, other sales forms and/or checks at all. System locks after printing. Alignment for the voucher section of checks is not correct. Boxes or squares are printing on my transactions. Getting a blank screen when trying to print a check or sales form. When Acrobat Reader brings up an old form, but you were trying to print a new one. When some lines appear fuzzy. Here are two important Adobe Knowledge Base articles you will want to look at. The first one concerns Adobe Acrobat itself, and that can be found at www.adobe.com/support/products/acrobat.html. And the other webpage concerns troubleshooting printing problems, Acrobat 5.0 through 6X on Microsoft Windows, which can be found at www.adobe.com/support/tech-docs/316508.html. Please note, these are old websites, so they may not be running any longer. Here are two Microsoft Knowledge Base articles that will help you. The first is How to Troubleshoot Printing Problems in Microsoft Windows 95, Windows 98, and Windows Millennium Edition. That can be found at http://support.microsoft.com/kb/128345. The other article is Troubleshooting General Printing Problems in Windows XP, and that can be found at http://support.microsoft.com/default.asp/kb/en-us/en-3140085. Again, please note that these websites may be out of date. In conclusion, troubleshooting printing problems is very linear. There is always an identifiable cause for printing problems, even if it's not necessarily visible to the untrained eye. Please use this time to discuss your lesson, and thank you for listening. You can reach me at my email address, which is sean@seantbrandt.com. Thank you for listening.